Jai Sitaram. Ayodhya Kand, Chapter 1. So far, Valmiki has enumerated 50 different characteristics of Lord Rama. We are seeing Rama behave as the prince of Ayodhya, and because of his magnificent qualities, he has endeared himself to the hearts of everyone in Ayodhya, especially his beloved father, King Dasaratha. We are going to see a lot more characteristics in this section. Verse 22. Dharma, kāmā, artha, tattvajñaḥ, smṛtimān, pratibhānavān, laukike saṃyāchāre, kritakalpo viśāradah. The pursuit of duty, gain, and pleasure had its claims and bounds well defined with him. With a phenomenal keenness of memory, he possessed infinite resource and tact and was expert in the discharge of civil business. The 51st characteristic of the Lord is dharma, kāmā, artha, tattvajñaḥ. The one who knows what is dharma, which is duty, kāmā, which is pleasure, and artha, which is gain. These three were well known to him. The 52nd characteristic is smṛtimān. That means he had a phenomenal keenness of memory. The 53rd characteristic is pratibhānavān. That means the one who has spontaneous wisdom to respond. The 54th characteristic is viśāradah, the one who has skill to make arrangements based on the time, place, and circumstances, the resource, the tact, and so on and so forth. Verse 23. nibhṛtaḥ saṃvṛtākāro guptamantraḥ sahāyavān amogha krodha harṣa tyāga saṃyama kāla. Respectful to all, he was yet unfathomable of purpose. His face or acts betrayed not in the least the counsel of his heart. His counselors were cleverest of the age. Neither his wrath nor his favor went for nothing. He knew full well when to give profusely and when to acquire wealth by just means. So, the 55th characteristic of the Lord is nibhṛtaḥ. That means he is very humble. The 56th characteristic is saṃvṛtākāro. That means he had a very enclosed form. He did not let his feelings appear outwardly. And the concomitant characteristic to this is guptamantraḥ. He kept his thoughts to himself. This is the Lord's 57th characteristic. 58th characteristic is sahāyavān, the one who helps others. The 59th characteristic is amogha, krodha, harṣa Ch. He does not waste his anger or pleasure. The 60th characteristic is tyāga, saṃyama, kāla. That means he knows when to give and when not to give. Verse 24. dṛḍha bhaktiḥ sthira prajño nāsadgrāhī na durvacāḥ nistandri apramatta svadoṣo paradoṣavit. His heart went out in adoration to the gods and to the teachers. His knowledge of the eternal verities was clear and profound. He kept away from the company of the foolish and the ways of the evil-hearted. Softly, slow, and deliberate of speech, he was ever diligent in the pursuit of knowledge and keen to pierce to the heart of the sciences. No one was more aware of his faults and failings or of the weakness of his kingdom and of his enemies. The Lord's 61st characteristic is dṛḍha bhaktiḥ, the one who has steadfast devotion. The 62nd characteristic is sthira prajño, that means the one who has steadfast mind. The 63rd characteristic is nāsadgrāhī, that means he who is not stubborn. Then the 64th characteristic is na durvacāḥ, that means he does not speak evil words. The 65th characteristic is nistandri, that means he has no idleness in him. The 66th characteristic is apramatta, the one who is always alert. The 67th characteristic is doṣa paradoshavit, the one who can recognize his own errors and the errors of others. So now it doesn't mean that Rama has made any mistakes or something like that. What Valmiki is trying to teach us is that before figuring out the faults of the others, we have to see our own responsibility in this position. Verse 25. Śāstrajña kṛtajña purashantakaro vidah yah pragrahānugrahayor yathānyāyam vichakshanah. The Vedas, the Vedangas, the 32 sciences, and the 64 arts were mastered by him in detail. He was intimate with the final truths and conclusions on all subjects of human interest. He read at a glance the fine and delicate distinctions between man and man. He was ever assiduous in attracting to himself friends, refugees, and good men, as also in fulfilling the fondest wishes of the heart in consonance with the laws of kingly polity. He knew with wonderful precision when to lay the heavy hand of punishment upon a man and where. The 68th characteristic of the Lord is śāstrajña. That means he knew the theory and practice of the shastras. The 69th characteristic is kṛtajña, the one who knows how to apply these sciences. The 70th characteristic is purashantakaro vidah, the one who can understand the difference between men. Because every single person is individual, every single person is unique, and therefore it takes great skill to understand the limitations as well as the greatness of each and every person. The 71st characteristic is pragrahānugrahayor, the one who knows when to provide clemency and when to provide punishment. Pragraha means punishment, anugraha means protection. So he is able to discriminate, that is vichakshanah. He is able to discriminate the situation in such a way that he can mete out the proper punishment or reward. The 26th verse is satsangraha pragrahane sthānavinnīgrahasya ca ayakarmani upāyajñah saṃvṛtākāro karmavit. He identified good men and protected them. He knew the people worthy of a reprimand. He knew how to fill the royal coffers with wealth ungrudgingly offered by his loving subjects. He followed the traditions of royalty in spending a quarter or a half or 3/4 of his income, but never more. So the 72nd characteristic of the Lord is satsamgraha pragrahane. So that means he knows how to identify good people and how to protect them. Then the 73rd characteristic is nibhṛtaḥ cha. Those who have to be reprimanded, he was able to recognize them as well. And then the 74th characteristic is upāyajñah, that means the ways and means of ayakarmani, that means of getting income. And sandrishtayaya karmavit, how do you spend that wealth? According to the shastras. So you shouldn't spend more than you receive. So all those things have to be known, especially by the people of the royal family. And Rama knows everything. So this is the 74th characteristic of the Lord. Verse 27. Shraišṭhyam śāstras muheshu prapto vyāmishrakeshu cha artha dharma cha samgrahya sukatantro na chālasah. He was far and away the most learned in religious lore, and likewise in the lay literature of his age, in Sanskrit, Prakrit, and other dialects. Pleasure found in him a warm follower, but with strict regard to the demands of duty and gain. He put his heart into everything that he did. The 75th characteristic of the Lord is Shraišṭham Shastras Muheshu. That means he knows all the shastras and their subsidiaries. The 76th characteristic of the Lord is Sukatantra smṛtimān artha dharma. So he knows how to enjoy within the bounds of dharma and artha and kāmā. And then he is na chālasah. So this is the 77th characteristic of the Lord. He is na chālasah. He never is inactive. Why? Because the super soul is always active. The soul can never be inactive. And therefore, Rama, who is also the Paramatma of every single living entity, is saying that he is always active. And that active nature means that he knows every single thing that goes on in the hearts and minds of every single living entity. Verse 28. Vaiharikānām śilpānām viññātartha vibhāgavit ārohe vinaye chaiva yukto vāranavājinām. He put his heart into everything that he did. He was proficient in painting, vocal and instrumental music, sculpture, poetry, and other departments of the fine arts. Works of charity and measures that would enhance his fame had the first claim upon his wealth. His friends, relations, and dependents came next. A third portion was set apart as reproductive capital, and what remained he spent upon himself. None excelled him in the art of training and guiding horses, elephants, and camels. The 78th characteristic of the Lord is his attachment to fine arts, Vaiharikānām and Śilpānām. The 79th characteristic is Viññārtha Vibhāgavit, the one who knows how to divide his wealth. The 80th characteristic is he knows how to train and he knows how to ride, that is Arohe and Vinaye. Arohe means ride, Vinaye means in taming. He knows the Arohe and the Vinaye of Vāranavājinām. That means both elephants and horses. Verse 29. Dhanur Veda Vidam Shreshto Loke Tirtha Sammatah Abhiyata Praharta Ch Senāna Ya Visharadaha. He knew to perfect the innermost mysteries of the science of the bow. The foremost warriors of his time, the Atirathas, looked upon him as their master. He placed himself at the head of his troops, advanced fearlessly upon the embattled ranks of the enemy, pierced into their intricate, impenetrable vyuhas or arrays, and scattered them like chaff before the wind. all the while warding off danger and disaster from his own men. He was expert in marshalling soldiers into various and wonderful arrays. So this is the 81st characteristic of the Lord. His greatness in warfare, in the science of archery, and he was a great military strategist. This is the 82nd characteristic of the Lord. He was excellent in marshalling the army, and he can face enemies in battle. We will continue with the various characteristics of Lord Rama in the next section. Jai Sitaram.